what a man may yet go through in this life. And I don't think that's totally the thing he's talking about, but what shall be after him under the sun. You know, we live out our lives, and the things that we have encountered, the things that we have endured, who knows what lies before us yet even in this life. Sunshine or rain, sickness or pain, plenty or poverty. We don't know. I think he's mainly talking about what will it be after we're gone. You know, we worry and fret. What will become of my family after I'm gone? You know something? God has been taking care of families since the Garden of Eden. He was doing just fine before we came on the scene. He'll do just as well after we're gone. What will happen? I mean, we plan, and we should. We should plan. You know, I don't want this little lady down here to have to, at her age, to have to go out into the workforce to provide for herself. So what do? You buy life insurance, you try and save, you try and prepare to make sure that those things, but you know something? We got no guarantees. To start with, she may decide to go before I do. And I thought back there the day after Thanksgiving that she was already gone. Praise the Lord. They brought her back. But we don't know. We try to plan these things and figure these things rather than just saying, you know, Lord, they belong to you. And I know that you're capable of taking care of them. I will do all that I can, but I'm going to rely on you to do what I can't. Because we don't know. I mean, we struggle and everything to try and pay the mortgage on the place, and after we're gone, somebody else may be walking up and down the halls. And not know a thing about you or your mortgage. What will happen? We don't know. That's why we must trust God, and we must place these things in His hand, because He knows. What about with our present service of the Lord? It may seem that what we do doesn't really matter. But you know something, after we're dead and gone, what we've done, God may use to His glory. I remember years ago preaching in the church that I was saved in. On that Sunday they had the junior high choir singing in the church. They invited them to come and sing. And as a result, a lot of the community who were not members of the Calvary Baptist Church came because the kids were singing. And they got the blessing of hearing me preach. But months later, one of the parents who was at the service that had grown up, I grew up in the city there, and he was behind me a few years in school, but grew up in the same community. He's sitting there and he says to his wife, "You know something? That really makes sense." She said, "What makes sense?" "You know what Bruce Kraft said over there at Calvary Baptist. That really makes sense." Months later. You know something? When you're serving the Lord, don't concern yourself so much with the result. God gives the result, and if He chooses to give it after you're long gone, that's His business. Who can tell a man what shall be after him under the sun? Your life may count way on out in the future, so live it well. Live it well. Because God may use your testimony. I'm reminded of the story of George Mueller, the great German, what do you call it? I guess preacher, but he had orphanages. And he would pray, literally pray for the funds to run the orphanage. He had a couple thousand orphans or whatever, to take care of. And he would not solicit funds from businesses or anyone. He prayed and asked God to provide for him. On one occasion, it was dinner time. There was no food in the place. He had all the children. He had them set the table. He had them all seated at the table. And he prayed and asked God to provide. At the end of his prayer, knocked him on the door. There was a wedding reception that was canceled, and they had all the food and wanted to know if they could possibly use the food. God provided for them sumptuously. But Mueller had a friend that was lost, and he prayed for him. And he witnessed to him. And he prayed for him, and he witnessed. And that went on for years and years. I think 25 years, if I remember the story accurately. And Mueller died without God answering his prayer. His friend came to the funeral and got saved. So who knows what shall be after you? What will be after you are gone? We don't, but God does. And God desires that we live our lives according to the precepts of this book. And in doing so, He will place us in the situation that will best suit us, because He knows. He knows whether we would use wealth to sin, or if we would use it